Welcome back to Word Blindness, Dyslexia Exposed. Coming in with season 4. We're coming in hot. So
you're coming in hot. Let's just be clarified before we get this thing going, so everybody knows.
All right, you're a little spicy today too.
Does my hat say that?
Your hat does not say that, and that makes me laugh so hard. I knew that that's what it was, but since I'm slightly blind, as we know,
I went to the grocery store yesterday.
Were people dying laughing?
We were up ordering some. Elizabeth loves hard salami, so we're getting 3/4 of a pound of a hard salami, and this guy couldn't even get the hard salami out of the fridge because he was dying laughing. He was, I was not expecting that hat, but
so that's good. You put a smile on people's faces.
Oh yeah, this place is a very special place.
Well, and so anyone that's listening on Spotify or any of the podcast players right now, they're going, what does it say? I'm not going to read it because now you got to go over to the YouTube channel and you got to, you're going to read
it says, please be patient. I'm a fucking retard.
And you can call yourself that. You're not calling anyone else. You're calling yourself it.
Did not Penelope say I can say that?
She did say it. She said, since you're diagnosed with multiple...
Since I am one, I can tell myself I'm one.
You can say that. Right? Yeah.
I'm not calling anybody else a retard. I'm not calling you a retard. Actually, I'm calling you a retard for not flying or driving to San Diego.
I was already on the plane. I couldn't get off.
Elizabeth's like, I would never be doing this. Do we want to start with your little 48 hours of you and Danny? Because it might be on the news.
It is 100% all over the news, right? Yeah. But here's the thing. Because I have Gracie Abrams tomorrow and
you're the super fan. I forgot about that.
Yes. Right. So Gracie Abrams, if you're listening, because my daughter, this means the world to her. And I made a promise to her. And I was not going to let her down. So the reason why I did not go right to San Diego, which yes, I should have. I also, from Georgia to Chicago, I should have learned my lesson, right? I should have went right to Chicago from Georgia and not gone home and staying the whole day in the airport. So airports and me, I was like, no, I've been actually so blessed. I've been traveling so much. Everything has been really good. The last couple trips.
Well, remember, traveling in the summertime, let's just be clear.
Yeah.
Storms pop up, right?
Right.
Travel... Airlines obviously overbooked. People are traveling. Like you were traveling you went to Atlanta and then to Chicago for Truman's basketball. People are doing that for vacations. So I know this new thing is traveling is new for you.
As much as I'm doing. Yes.
Right. As much as you're doing, it's, you make, now you're traveling a lot more for work and your kids than you did before. It's a different animal in the summertime. Mm-hmm. In the months of June, July, August, when school's out, you have to plan for delays. And if you don't had good delays,
they do good.
Amen.
Right. In the beginning, I didn't, right?
Right.
So I've been traveling since the last week of June, every week, pretty much Wednesday through Sunday. No in between. And Jesus Christ, that's my child. Because now mom's home. So everyone's like, oh, wait, I can call. No, honey, I'm working today. Okay. So
and then you decide to live like 4 hours away from the airport. So then you got to take like a 4-hour car to the airport.
And someone took my overhead bin, which took everything out of my body. I actually did an Instagram story on it and I called the person a fucking loser. My biggest pet, okay, I have a lot of pet peeves, but one of the biggest that because it takes a lot to get me angry. I'm pretty okay, but when I get angry, it's hard to reel me back in. And I had to, because I was so tired. It took everything in my body. The flight attendant was also pregnant, so I was like, okay, I'm going to be okay. But on the way out, a woman tried to take mine who was in 30C. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Whoa. Can you reel this back in? What do you mean it's yours? So
it's above my seat. It's above my seat, the overhead. You should be around yours. Not put backpacks and jackets and other things when you know that people have roll-ons, right? You shouldn't go, if you're in 30C, you should not be taking a overhead in the front. So why? Are you one of those that does that?
So I try and get on the plane right at the beginning.
Yes, you do.
So that I get an overhead if I need one.
Yeah, no, this would have stressed the fuck out of you.
The anxiety I get that I wouldn't get an overhead bin.
Yes.
But to that point is, yeah, I'll throw wherever.
Now,
because
yes,
I don't see when you flip up that bin, it doesn't say, "Hey, 4B, how are you doing today?"
No, but if you're in the front, people in the front, now not right there, but if you're all the way in the back, you should not be taking a front.
What if there's nothing up there? That's the only hole.
Well, that's different. But that's where also the flight attendants, like everyone go back, everyone should be going around their thing. So I did not get on the plane because they changed it 35 times. And then they were like, I sat down to get something to eat. And they're like, oh, now we found an earlier plane. We're leaving in 15, 20 minutes or whatever. And I was like, motherfucker, which all again, totally fine. And we don't have to get into this because clearly.
No, I really, it's amazing, when we talk the rules of certain things that I've never read before. Yeah. And the rules of where to put your overhead bin and whose is whose. I've traveled a few air miles in my day. And
you didn't have to. You had your, like when you traveled, it was fucking different than when.
Why is that? How many planes have I been on? Never mind, not for the team. We've flown private, right? So completely different. Right. Other places.
That's what I was talking about.
I didn't know about, I've never actually grabbed my ticket in the back of my ticket, read the rules of where to put your.
No, but it is common sense to me that if you are sitting in a seat, there should be 2 or 3 bins around you. So if I'm sitting in the front, I can't go all the way to the back to put my luggage. So if someone from the back put theirs above, I'm fucked. So there's no place for me to go. And so then I have to check mine. So, but I also pay more to sit in the front. I'll sit in the middle. And I will do that because I'm like, I hate sitting in the back where then I have to stand up and wait for everyone to go. My
favorite is sitting in the aisle, last seat right by the bathroom and smell everybody. It's the best part. It's just wonderful.
So, but I will sit in the middle. I will sit in the middle in like the first 5 or 6 rows. And I will, if there's not there, I will go and find another flight.
Elizabeth and I, when we had to go to California for the funeral, we both got in the middle seat.
Yeah.
So here I am. Oh. Like, you're skinny. She's skinny. You guys got like 6 inches aside. I'm that guy coming down the aisle going, what the fuck? This guy's going to be in between. Like,
yeah, no, that sucked. But that was a different situation. But that totally sucks. But I can't believe we talked this much about that. But that was the end. And then I had to wait 35 minutes in JFK after being at the airport the entire fucking day for 2 days because I didn't have an overhead bin because a douche took my spot.
Hey,
yeah.
Welcome to traveling.
I know.
Ask your husband.
Yeah, I know. I know. But it was.
And people ask, you want to go on vacations? You miss traveling?
No, you don't. I do enjoy it. That part is, and then
you enjoy getting plane friends. You come off with every fucking plane. Oh, I got a new plane friend. You have more plane friends than fucking planes.
I actually have the funniest story about that, and I can't share it on here. Good. But I do, and I know you don't believe me either. I do not talk first. This is the consensus because I've just.
What do you think of that?
I promise you,
over there laughing her ass off right now, going.
I know. I promise you, I don't. I do not want. If someone does not want to talk, I'm very good at being like, I don't need to talk. As my husband and Danielle and my kids say, that I come on and everyone can feel my energy. That like, oh, this one wants to talk, so they usually start it first if they want to talk. I promise you, I will bet millions. I've just gotten to this with Truman. He's like, there's no way. I was like, I promise you. You think that I start most conversations. I actually don't. And I know that sounds crazy. I promise you I don't. Then yes, I continue it. But I always will say, like, we don't have to continue talking. Like if you want to.
Just when I first met Elizabeth, she's very quiet. She comes home, but she'll talk to every fucking stranger. The stranger in the middle of the aisle. What store was it? All about pizza. I'm like, how'd you start talking about pizza? She's like, well, they're behind me talking about pizza. So I turned around and joined their conversation. But then you don't want to talk to people, but you're going to talk. She talks to she talks to every stranger.
Yeah, I love that.
What are you? I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So let's get back to on Friday. I interviewed for a coaching job here at a prep school, which probably one of the top 5 prep schools in Illinois. To be a hockey coach. And I met with I don't know what they call it, dean, president, boss. What I don't know what they call the big boy. I think this one's got. I think they got like 500 kids. Like 225 of them are overnight. There's a lot of international kids. He had zero clue about dyslexia, and he had zero clue that was that common. And somebody said to me, they're like, well, it doesn't affect him. Yes, is it a prestigious? Yes, it's, a lot of wealthy kids there. Yes, they probably aren't as impacted, as certain other places, but still not to know the stats.
Right. It's crazy.
Not at all. So
it doesn't surprise me. It pisses me off.
Right. Well, that's kind of why I was bringing it up. Is people always talk about the schools should know. They don't. You got 500 kids, right? You've got 20%, right? Well, even if it is 10% because it's a higher end prep school. You're not as impacted. Okay, that's still a lot of kids.
Yeah.
It's $65,000 a year for high school. And he had no clue. And, he grew up in it. His dad, his wife works at the school in the I don't know what the learning disorder corner.
Right. The special
whatever the terminology that they used, for that.
At that school. Yeah.
In that school. His wife runs it. Nothing? What?
But again, what's sad is it doesn't surprise me. It's so frustrating, but it doesn't surprise me. And it's just adding to what the problem is where, people don't realize that there's a different way, as you say all the time, that there's a different way to learn. There's a different way to do things, that everyone has different wiring. And the fact that he didn't know, but he probably heard of it and was like, oh, people are successful. I'm sure he's had some kids that were dyslexic there that didn't seem like they struggled. And that's the thing that people miss all the time. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean we're struggling all the time.
Well, I did, I coached, I ran a few practices and stuff last year for this team and helped coach a couple times. So I know that the hockey team last year had 4 or 5 kids.
Right.
Just specifically on the hockey team. Mm-hmm. And there's 20 kids, right? So that's our 20% we're talking about, exactly right there, right? So how can they got 20%, right? And you're not getting, you've got to pass these tests. Like, this is a high standard school. So these kids aren't, the hockey kids aren't getting in there just because hockey kids. There's a standard that you have to meet, right? So
there's like an entrance exam, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Entrance exams and interviews and all that stuff. So it's still right there. 20% of kids. Now, everybody wants kids, and especially a private school like this, prestigious. You don't even know what impacts your kids the most, and they've got a mental health area, or because it's a boarding school basically.
Right.
Half the kids are from different places. A lot of them are international kids. Again, what's the number contributor to mental health? Number 1 contributor. Learning disorders, and they got no clue.
And also, what took me back for a second is when you were talking about the entrance exam, trying to get into the school when a kid really wants to get into the school, and if they do struggle taking tests and all of this, like how much anxiety is on them trying to get into this school, and the dean, whoever, doesn't have any thought because it's a prestigious school. So he thinks, oh, people no one gets tested, right? Like, people don't get nervous about this kind of stuff. And
then, that leads to, on Saturday, I end up doing a golf event, and one in the union, the sprinkler fitters, and 281, I think their number is. all unions, they have to write a test, right, to get in.
Mm-hmm.
I found out on Saturday they all got to write the same test, and you got to get a 70. The one guy, and I was talking to them like, how many of them are great in the field but can't pass that test? And the guy's like, yeah, I know quite a bit.
Right.
And the one guy's like, I got a 71, just got passed, right? It's so now we're talking, a different level, right? I'm like, why can't we figure out a different way to administer that test for those people?
Mm-hmm. Right. And we've talked about like the doing it orally versus the written, just like the movie Blind Side, right? But so many people can't think out of the box and it's also because how much do they have to fight to get that accommodation for a kid, or where do they have to go to figure it out? It's like, oh, well, there's so much behind it, but it's really not that difficult. It really is more simple than you would think. And people can't outside think about it. Oh, hello, making it season 4. Hello,
Hey.
Kiva.
Hi, Keith. Say hi. Hi. You got my sock, huh?
Oh my God, so cute. She's like, I don't want to be on there.
She used to be as a baby. For the first couple of weeks, she'd sit in your lap and just sleep. I go to the rink and, she'd be sleeping. I talk to Elizabeth 3 hours. Oh, yeah, she's still sleeping right in my lap. Now, you can't get her to sit on your lap for half a second.
Right. Is it because she can't fit anymore? So it's not as comfortable, or she just mills around?
She's a shithead. She really does what she wants. So, typical woman, I guess, right? So that's par for the course.
Yeah, fucking hilarious.
She loves to steal my clothes.
That's
if I take, and leave anything on the floor, I can my socks are over here, or like right now, that was my pair of my hockey socks. Elizabeth's doing laundry. She's got her nose in the laundry basket and running off with my pants or my shorts. Or
that's cute.
Yeah,
that's very cute. I love that.
It's and again, you're going from prestigious school to trades, to unions, and the one guy I was with was asking me about dyslexia. He's like, when I start reading, then I go right to the bottom of the page, and then you scan it backwards. And his wife's like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, if you went to school now, they'd be diagnosing you with something,
Right.
But he's like, what's the definition of dyslexia? What is it? And he's like, I just got a 71 to pass to be a sprinkler fitter. Like, so you've got to get a 70. The thought of getting a 70 on a test, I don't think only test I think I ever got, like a 70 above would have been for phys ed.
Mm.
Like when I grew up, it was 50 was pass. So if I saw 50 or 51, I was like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Now to get a 70? Yeah, I don't the anxiety just thinking about trying to get a 70.
And this is for the trades. Mm-hmm. So
well, I think now 70, that's for everything. I think
but just having the test and period, like the trades, as I said, like when Montgomery in high school, because there was a part of our high school that has an affiliation with the trade school, which is great. But because of his IEP, they assumed, they're like, okay, what does he want to study at BOCES? And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, he's not going to BOCES. And they're like, oh, wait, why? And I was like, he's not going into the trades. That's not what he wants to do. And they were like, oh, it would be much better for him. He gets to leave school and he gets to study. Like he can be an electrician or this. And I was like, yeah, no, he's not. Like, just because he has dyslexia or struggles doesn't mean he's good at that. And so again, they were just assuming this other thing. And it's like, yeah, it's,
then on Friday, I end up, he met with the whatever dean, principal, whatever they call it, and then I had like 4 other people that I had to meet. I could meet them for like 10 minutes. And it was like, the joke was speed dating 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Now, met this other guy. I don't even know what his title was. He's like, yeah, I studied dyslexia. And, I know what it is. I studied it in school. I'm like,
how much did it take you to not be like, okay, what did you study?
So his job is to hire. I think he hires all the employees, like all the teachers, that kind of stuff at school. Yeah, I studied dyslexia. I'm like, oh, you did, eh? I didn't say anything, couldn't say anything. I only had, I only had 10 minutes to get into it. I'm like, oh yeah. All I said was 100% of the education written for about dyslexia is by non-dyslexic. So I don't think you know.
What was his face like after you said that?
He's wearing some boat shoes.
Think about wwhere he works. Of course, he wears wearing boat shoes.
Yeah, what do they call it? Sperries?
Oh, Sperries. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, yes, I totally know what you're talking about. Were they blue or tan?
Tan.
Okay. There was a navy blue one too.
Oh, yeah.
My
thought was like, I got to deal with these people.
Very different.
The crazy part is they all live at the school. They have dorms at apartments for the teachers.
Yeah.
Liz was like, I ain't living up there. No way. And they're all their wives work, at school. They're Liz was like, well, it's incestual there. So of course they all live there. And
yeah, I mean, that's just a different world. It's a very different world. And there's a lot of it that exists all throughout. I mean,
it's a different world, but I was pissed. Yeah. And this, they think that they're doing good for the kids. But no clue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they just mingle in their little circle and no outsiders are allowed in. And that's why we get rinse and repeat with kids.
Not for the kids.
No. Nope.
So many things are not for the kids.
Right. And that was with this whole whole hockey thing. And at the end of the day, they fired the athletic director who was the head coach at the last second. I don't know. I still don't know why or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it was, kids are supposed to be moving here from different countries in a couple weeks. And just kind of taking their time. They didn't have anybody lined up. They didn't have parents are going crazy. They think, they're for the kids. That's what they always do. They all, no matter if we're talking about this school or, where we are in New York or Ashley and South Carolina, they all think they're for the kids and doing it for the right for the kids. And that's that piece that they're not, because they've never been in that chair.
Yeah. And when this goes out, season 4, pretty much everyone's back in school, which I just can't even, I mean, obviously I've been traveling so much that I haven't even grabbed onto the summer, but I'm like, holy shit. Like
Illinois starts, obviously
2
Kendall,
weeks, right?
Started, Kendall, her kids started last week. I think majority of Illinois is like August 15th ish, right? Right in that area is right when we start.
Yeah. Yes. And ours is obviously, I feel like we just finished, which we kind of did because the end of, I mean, we now it's been a month, not even a month that we've been out because it's been a month. I think graduation was like on the 28th.
So we basically, all schools get 2 months, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's
it
like 8
depends
weeks.
However that falls.
However they shake it out.
Yeah.
Yep. It's 8 weeks because it's I mean, I think private school gets, I think some private schools get a little bit longer. Maybe it's like 10 weeks, whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, I think it's mostly 8 weeks, and it's just how it shakes out. But it is,
And that's, that's different states, right?
Which, as we know, different states are now going to be doing a whole different education thing. And so
that's where I was going to go with that. Right.
Yeah.
We think it's different before now, like just the breaks. Wait till the rest of it gets involved.
Yeah. When do you feel that? Do you think that's like 2 years?
Oh, I think it's happening already.
Yeah, you do. Okay.
I don't, it's not going to happen this year because it hasn't been fully passed to each state, but people are in people's ears already.
Totally. But do you think like us as parents and like the kids, let's say you're not political and you don't know the education system stuff, all of a sudden, do you think like 2 years, or do you think really like next school season? I think maybe next school season. So
see, here's the hard part is, to answer your question, is parents don't really even know what's going on right now. And I'm not meaning that in disrespect, the behind the scenes of just remember, like when you and I went to school, math was one the way it is. It was back then. Now it's completely different. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see those kind of things. That's when parents are going to be like, gee, when did this change?
Yeah.
So I don't think parents are really going to notice much different, because not much is going to change. Where it's going to change is how they administer different things. Where I see this going with the states is people think they have the next best science curriculum or geometry curriculum, or where that they can sell it to the state of Illinois, to the state where now that they are every school is getting the Hooby science program, right? So now they've just made $1 million or whatever it is to stimulate that. That's the problem that's going to lie, is that it's easier to get to your state representative than you was to Washington. And I understand where Trump and his administration was going with that, making it easier to get there and making it easier to make changes. But again, nobody is for the kids. When I say nobody, a small percentage of people.
Percentage, but it's not. It's like what? No, they're not really actually thinking of the kid in the chair. They're not. It is a black and white. This is what we need to do, and here's the reasons. And it's like, okay, the kids will just fall in line, right?
And you say a few buzzwords, and it makes you think, oh, they're doing right. They're doing good, right? And that's the hard part for us. The dyslexia side of it is really going to get hurt the most in this, and that's where we're going to try, and try and counterbat that is that the people who have it, we talk about this all the time, your Brent Tinleys and think that they know what they're talking about because they say the right buzzwords, and parents struggling. Oh, they hear the key words.
Yeah, they're like, I want to follow
this
that.
This is going to help my kid. Like, you don't know. Oh, this sounds good. This sounds like it's going to help, and it's actually not. It's actually going to hurt, because obviously I'm 48-year professional at dyslexia because I have it. It's just what it is.
Yeah, and again, like even thinking back, like Richard Branson and all that, when I was struggling, right, to grab onto something when we were getting Montgomery diagnosed, it's like, right, when people are outspoken, you feel like they know what they're talking about, but you have to dig a little deeper. But we're going to talk more about this, obviously, as season 4 continues. I mean, seriously, how crazy. This is 101 episodes.
Stalker.
What'd you say? Soccer?
Stalker.
Oh, he said soccer. I was like, okay, how random is that? Yeah. Shut up. Stalker. Well, look, 101 episodes. Think of all the people we've helped. So thank God. And so we'll leave it at that, because I know you've got some stuff. I've got some stuff, and and then I'm headed off to the concert and to San Diego.
You
and we'll
enjoy.
I didn't even talk about what happened on the airplane and the fire. So just look up Denver, Miami fire, and that we were a part of all of that. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Like, rate, review, and share. And you don't know who needs to hear this. Seriously, you don't know who's going back to the school year or is getting started and doesn't know what to do and needs to listen. Listen back to the episodes of what to do before your IEP, your 504. If you have questions, just DM us. We will answer. We are here for you. And again, thank you for joining another episode of Word Blindness, Dyslexia Exposed.